Made it!
Nice, on the pavement, yeah, beautiful.
Good morning everyone! Today something special has happened. Namely, after driving a Lucid Air Midnight Dream Edition for over a year and being a big fan of the brand, I finally received my own Lucid t-shirt. All the jokes aside, I may or may not have spilled the tasty cappuccino that is being served here at Circuit of Ascari. Speaking of which, the main reason we are here today is because it is European launch of Lucid Sapphire. You may know this car from last year already because I had the unique opportunity to drive it on the Nürburgring. 10 minutes before I got into the car, it started raining like crazy, and which made it actually more interesting because we could experience the chassis in wet conditions on already the most exciting race circuit in the world. Today we are blessed by beautiful blue skies of Andalusia, did I say it correctly, of Spain, and we also have completely different tires, because ever since I drove the car, there is a nice upgrade that became available for the car, namely Pirelli Trofeo RS semi-slick tires. 265 on the front and I believe 295 on the rear, if I'm saying this correctly. Yeah, 295, 30, 21 on the rear. For all the other specs of the car, I would suggest for you to watch the video we've done last year, because we already put the car on the lift, showed you all the suspension components, and etc, etc. But a quick rundown is it is 1250 horsepower or 1234, depends which kind of measurement unit you use. We have one motor, electric motor on the front. We have two on the back that allows us to have true torque vectoring, so distributing the power or the torque from one wheel to the other depending which wheel needs it the most. And for the rest, of course, it has all the comfort that the normal Air offers, and also massive space. We're not going to go too much into detail on that. There's plenty of content you can find about that on my channel, all the road trips we've done to Croatia, etc, etc. But this is a completely brand new car that has been developed, so everything is different on it compared to the normal Air. The suspension, the ceramic brakes that allowed, I believe, the overall reduction of rotational mass of 25 kilos roughly, and of course the semi-slicks. I can show you briefly the interior. My favorite part is the fact that it has Alcantara wheel, it has better side support for those extra G's that you can pull through the corner, and many more track modes that we can go over in a bit. Now, aside from the production spec ready car that you can all buy in US and Europe as of now as well, I want to show you this. This is actually a development car that is running similar wrap that I was driving last year on the Nürburgring. And unlike that car over there, it has a very interesting feature that I want to show you. And namely, it has a roll cage, it has, well, fully blown bucket seats with ears, because this is a development car and it has seen over 400 laps of the Nürburgring and probably much more. So yeah, the cars are being developed on the tracks, for the tracks, although their main use purpose is actually not the racetrack. Let's switch off air conditioning for now, shall we? Now it's nice and quiet, so I guess now let's go for a few laps, show you what we can do. We are in Ascari, as mentioned, and unlike the Nürburgring, where I have 10,000 laps of experience or so, here I have, as of today, about 10 laps of experience. And I've been here once in 2019 before, but I've forgotten completely where the track goes. So yeah, don't judge me too hard. We pushed the car quite far over its limit of what the driver should be doing considering his track knowledge. But I think it also showed that the intelligent safety systems and very big brakes are there to help you if you mess things up. So anyway, let's hop in and go for a few laps. And after that, hopefully go for some laps of the Nürburgring, but that's something for future content. Yeah. Before we go for our drive, I would like to walk you through the modes that we will be using, and for that, I'm joined by David Lichtwald, who is head of chassis... Vehicle Dynamics, yes. So all the passive handling of the chassis is thanks to him, basically, and of course his team. Yeah, definitely. The team.
Big team effort.
Big team effort, but he can tell us a lot more about the modes that we will be using for now. So, well, we know already the smooth, swift, and sprint mode from the normal Air, but Sapphire comes with Sapphire mode and a track mode. Am I correct?
Correct. So
Yes.
now we're running in track mode. That gives us access to 3 sub-modes: drag strip, hot lap, and endurance. They're different power levels, the different cooling strategies, optimized for different use cases. Today we're in endurance, and then it gives you access to your regen controls and your stability control as well. I think you're going to run in track stability control, which gives you a bit more rotation, different ABS cal, different torque vectoring cal, and it's ideal for things like today.
Exactly. So with endurance, we have a bit more battery preservation. We could go completely crazy, but that's not what we're here today for. It's optimizing the state of the battery. Regenerative braking, as you mentioned, you have an option to go high or standard. I prefer a high because it allows you a bit of more trail braking on rotation. And stability control track, it's something that we have used previously last year already on the Nürburgring when it was fully wet, and it allowed already for some skids. So I know that calibration is so good that, yeah, you don't need to switch it off, because then it's gonna be too much. Maybe something for another time. But speaking of calibration, David, I like you and all, but I would like to have your colleague Esther join me for a lap.
Absolutely.
Yes, so... Right.
Okay.
It's a very hot day today, but for the sake of audio, we're gonna run less air
No
conditioning
problem.
so people can hear us.
Sounds good.
But I'm sure we should be fine.
Yep.
Esther, thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You are head of calibration?
Yeah, so I manage the controls calibration team at Lucid.
Basically, in very simple terms, you are responsible for systems such as traction control, stability control, torque vectoring.
Yeah,
And-
we're passenger princesses. So we sit in the passenger seat with our laptops, and we work with the controls development teams who do all of the algorithm writing. And we kind of just punch the buttons once we get out into the car and into the field.
That's impressive. Yeah, I've been told by David, who just sat here, but I asked him to leave the free seat for you. I've been told that you indeed are sitting on the passenger seat, fearless, going through the Nürburgring, while he's doing probably 250 through foxhole compression. You're like, oh yeah, okay, a bit of more oversteer, a bit of understeer here and there. So yeah, torque vectoring and traction control are systems that you cannot show, you have to feel them. And that's
Totally.
It's very difficult to explain them, but I think you are the expert behind it. You can give me a couple of key facts behind those systems, because there's of course also a big difference between Sapphire and the normal Air when it comes to the amount of times that the system, for example, senses the input of the wheel, etc. So yeah, give me, I would say, an elevator pitch. What makes the Sapphire so impressive when it comes to its systems? And after that, we'll put them into a test after we warmed up the car.
Sounds good, yeah. So I guess first off, like, what is torque vectoring and traction control? So when we say torque vectoring, we're talking about the distribution of torque from the front and to the rear, and also from the rear right to the rear left, because we have one motor in the front and 2 motors in the back. And then when we talk about traction control, that's the limiting of torque on a per motor basis to make sure that the wheels aren't slipping too much, or that they're slipping the appropriate amount, if you will.
Yes.
So yeah, but both torque vectoring and traction control for the Lucid Air Sapphire were a ground-up development, fully in-house, and it's cool because Air originally launched with supplier-based traction control, which is really good for the Air all-wheel drive, but we found just wasn't quite quick enough to keep up with how much power and torque this car has. And so we did an in-house development where we were able to locate the parts of the control in different ECUs across the car so that it could be really quick. And that gives us a huge competitive advantage, being able to control all of the different motor torques really, really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to just quickly jump in on that because I drove, of course, both models. I'm daily in the Air.
Yeah.
I've done a couple of laps with it on the Nürburgring, and for me, the traction control system on the Air, I had to, well, really almost switch it off, even in the sort of in-between mode. It's still kind of intrusive because it really slows the car down, whereas with the Sapphire, my only experience so far outside of today on the Nürburgring was in full wet conditions. And in full wet conditions, I was still able to rotate the car when I wanted to, like to go do some skids basically, but maintain the grip on the corner acceleration and on the corner exit, I mean, and also, yeah, on the full straight, I think we tapped 285 kilometers per hour with the car in a full wet, and that was for me like really the key feature that shows the stability. Of course, there's great passive chassis development behind it, where you're when you have the dampers and of course the damper control and the whole chassis rigidity, etc., etc. But this, like, really the torque vectoring and well, the traction control, that's something for me like, wow, this is what makes this car stand out. It makes it, this is the technology that is not able, that you're not able to use with internal combustion engine cars, for basically.
Well, yeah, the electric, you know, we built the system to try to take advantage of the benefits of electric powertrains. And with electric powertrains, you can be incredibly precise with what torque you want to put on which motor. And so we use that to our advantage. And what this allows us to do is give like a huge breadth of character to the car. So like, you know, for example, in this turn, maybe you come down slow, and you can rotate the car a lot more precisely than maybe you should be able to rotate a car of this size. But then in say a higher speed turn, we're able to stabilize the car and make it like, you know, quite on rails.
Exactly. Well, as you can see, I started pushing slightly bit more, and we had already quite some gradient changes, elevation changes, and the car does fantastic job by doing a race car stuff that, yeah, it's essentially, it's not built as a race car. It's a family luxury vehicle, and we could put some people on the back seat, but I think like the track insurance doesn't allow us to. Could put my dogs even in there. Well, let's not do that. But essentially what I'm getting at, it is like a family vehicle and allows you to do exceptional stuff, and that's really, really cool.
That's the cool thing about torque vectoring is it doesn't just shine on a racetrack, it also shines on a mountain road. Because we can use the two rear motors to basically do more than an open or a locked or a semi-locked differential can do, we can allow the car to rotate way below the limit. So you could be just driving along on a mountain road, say half a G cornering, and the car is going to rotate, and kind of you'll feel some rotation as though you're at the limit, which I think is really fun. It sort of makes the car sparkle and feel really special.
Exactly. I mean, we did now over 200 kilometers per hour. I tried to check the speed we were doing, and that's why I lost like the corner exit. But it shows how stable the car is on high speed sections, low speed sections, and again, we're doing racetrack stuff, but it's also very applicable for daily usage, because you have sometimes non-optimal grip on real world where you have snow, rain, etc., etc. So yeah, maybe I should better stick to driving and not talking actually.
Yeah, you mentioned snow. We've spent a lot of time tuning this car in snow as well, and not that anybody would take this car on gravel or on snow all that often, but if they do, it's really good actually. And again, because we have precise control of the motors, and because we've worked really closely with the dynamics engineers to tune the torque controls in conjunction with tuning the rest of the chassis, we've been able to create this really cohesive system that shines whether it's rain or shine.
The back end goes out a bit. No, it's fantastic, and I really love how you're just sitting in the passenger seat and just like talking me through all of these features. So you have a lot of trust in your own product, I would say. Usually people would be like, oh, let me out.
Yeah, I mean,
you've done probably much crazier stuff than this.
I was saying earlier,
when you're doing like calibration on the Nürburgring, it's much more tricky and dangerous than on an open track as a Ascari, but it's really nice. No, I really enjoy it. So speaking of the Nürburgring, I believe you just came back recently from it, or at least you've been there a couple of times.
Yeah, absolutely. We were there last week.
What's your favorite section?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Some of the Ardeno Forest sections are maybe more similar to places that we've been before, but I think the end of the track is really special because it's, at least, I'm talking from my perspective as a calibrator, I'm always looking for new challenges to try the car on and see how we can maybe poke holes in it and make the car better. And the elevation and bumps of the end of the track combined with cornering are a real challenge that force us to make, you know, changes for the car that maybe we wouldn't make otherwise.
Made it.
Nice, on the pavement. Yeah, beautiful.
So we took it really to the limit, and now we can do a nice and easy cool down.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, traction control works, torque vectoring works, ABS works.
ABS works,
Even
yep.
if you go over the limit, it's there to stop you.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
Well, and that's the other kind of fun thing about this is it's the breadth of character. Like, you know, we can have a mode where you can totally hang the back out and be super sideways, and then we have a comfort mode with the full stability control that is like totally a cruiser mode. I mean, we daily drive these to the places that we have to test, so we don't like put them on trucks very often. We just pack all of our suitcases, a set of tires, like whatever you need, in the car, drive it there perfectly comfortably with, you know, a pretty long range on electric battery, and then get to the track and do what we need to do. Pack it up and go home.
Amazing. No, I'm impressed. I'm very much looking forward to drive the track on the Nürburgring next. Because
as your home turf.
Exactly, because as you can see, I'm not really familiar with the track. I've done about like 10 laps before I got in the car with you, so there's a lot more to learn, and the car is so well set up that it encourages you to go faster, but you should not be doing it if you don't know what to do. But if things go, like if you go over the limit slightly, the systems are there to catch you, as we just seen now. It really is impressive to see like how quick also the car stops and also how it rotates. So again, really nice. Yeah, looking forward to drive it on the ring, and it's been a fantastic day for me.
Oh good, I'm so glad.
Yeah,
we're really proud to, you know, we poured so much of our DNA into this car, and we're really proud to show it off to people and to show that this is what it means to drive a Lucid. Yeah,
and at the end of the day, like what I'm really impressed by is the fact that Air was already over-engineered for the use case scenario that it's made for, which is basically daily driving, the amount of performance that it offers. This is really over-engineered.
Yeah.
Because why would you have 1250 horsepower in a family sedan and all these fancy control systems? Well, because you want to create the best car there is.
Yeah, no, again, we're kind of, this is a car that shows off what we can do, and we're really proud of the work that we've done here, and we're excited to continue to carry on what we've learned from developing this car into new models. You know, all of the software that we, well, software and the sort of hardware developments that we've done for this car are lessons that we now have learned, and lessons that we can apply, and code bases that we can apply to future products.
Yeah, exactly. And it shows how fast, well, this moment as we're passing this section, it shows how fast the car is gaining speed. And if you do not brake in time, because you're used to from other cars, for example, yeah, you will be way too late. No brakes are going to save it. It's because how fast this car is. You really need to adapt your driving to it. And yeah, sometimes you get carried away by how easy this car drives.
That is one thing we've learned, is to move the brake markers up.
Yes. That's something I will definitely keep in mind when driving this baby on the ring in the dry in any nearby future.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah. Thanks so much for everything. Really, you know, it's fun to hear your feedback on it. I'm excited for you to drive it on the ring.
Yeah, no, me too.